Let me start by introducing our seasoned artists in their own right, which we have with us today. They are all, excelling at multiple professions, apart from also being musicians, apart from running companies, and apart from holding jobs as well, some of them. And I don't know what they don't do, to be honest. So let's start. Let's just, first of all, I'd thank all of you for sharing your valuable time and expertise with us for this event and this podcast, so to speak. First off, we have Mr. Amrith Raghunathan, who's a musician, a live sound engineer, a music producer, and a lot more, which he'll talk about shortly. Then we have Ankit Kumar, my friend from Lagori. He's a seasoned stage and tour manager and a production head. And he manages everything for us, including festivals and whatever we ever do. Then we have Hrishii Ravi, another good friend of mine, who's basically a lighting wizard, as I would call him. And he's the reason why we feel good on stage. Like, you don't know why, but you just feel good on stage because of the magic he does behind the lights. And lastly, another friend of mine, Mr. Nikhil Mukkatira, who's, again, there's so much to say. He's a live visuals expert, the founder of Taper Fox Studios. He's also an audio, video, and post-production specialist. So welcome to everyone, and glad to have you, Spark Mechanical. So let's get right into it. When we say music, we generally sort of, look at an artist playing on stage. It could be a band, it could be a DJ, it could be a choir, or just a singer-songwriter and all that. So whoever comes to watch these shows looks at the stage. But then there's so many other people, also known as you guys, who are working a lot behind the scenes, if you want to call it that, to make this show happen. So could you all, we'll start with Amrith, and if you could all explain what you do in a nutshell, or maybe in simple words, as I guess the students here may not have your skill sets. Just in a nutshell, what you do on stage. Now you have this rock band playing drums, bass, guitars, vocals, harmony, whatever. They have to be heard, right? And they have to be seen, and they have to look good. So that's where you people come. And they have to get to the gig on time, I guess. Yeah. So what is it that you guys do?
So I'll start. I'm a sound engineer. So my main key roles are what's called as FOH and monitors. So FOH is the guy who's standing with the audience, in the audience, controlling what the audience hears through the speakers. So the level balances between each instrument, each microphone coming off the stage, making sure that it's clear, making sure that the audience can enjoy the music as it's presented by the band. That's the FOH, and monitors is the job of the engineer to who's controlling what the musicians are hearing in their ears. So if there are multiple musicians, often in bigger shows, there's a separate sound engineer at the stage whose job it is to control every individual musician's, what they're hearing in their ears, or on monitors if they have it on stage.
So if we book a ticket to a gig, would you recommend the best spot for a ticket buyer to be with you or next to you?
Usually in front of the FOH. That's usually that's my spot whenever I go to a gig.
Exactly.
It's always right in front of FOH.
So that's a tip right there. Yeah. So over to you.
Hi, Nikhil here. So I handle the live visuals, what you come to a concert and experience visually when you look into the stage, whatever happens behind, like in the screen, what you see, that is handled by me. So again, I stand beside him and the lights. So it goes along with the band where the theme of the song or the lighting, we give on a contrast. We and the lighting engineer, he has to tell more about how we both collaborate. Yeah.
So you'll also get like the sweet spot.
Yeah,
But what
but it's right in front of the stage.
If we're lucky, we get the sweet spot.
a lot of cases where we just don't know where the sound engineer
Yeah, sometimes somewhere in the corner.
That's why you have a talk back.
talk like some bands do.
Hi, my name is Hrishii. I'm a lighting designer, programmer, and an operator. So I control the lights during any live concert. So lighting is for a band. It is very important because we create the experience as well as the mood. And yes, visuals and lighting go hand in hand. That we'll be talking in depth probably later in the session.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, Ankit this side. So I work as a stage tour and production for live acts, and what my role here is basically I do all the end-to-end when a show has to be executed, right from the scratch when we talk about pre-show, during the show or post the show. So those are the things which I take care, including the entire crew. When I say entire crew, that includes your sound, light and visual guide put together. So I'll talk about more in detail in our future.
Great, thank you. So that brings me to my next question. So when we say music, we generally express musical terms by saying melody, something melodic. Oh, it's that scale, it's that raga. Rhythm, the groove or how people would move, or the genre, or the harmony, and all those sorts of things. So in your field of work, I mean, all of you could answer. What aspects of music do you need to be aware of in order to do your craft or execute your work? And also, do you need to know music at all? Is that like a ridiculous question?
You should know your genre of music really well because we'll be traveling with a lot of bands with different genres.
So if it's like a rock band, let's say you have simple setup, drum kit, bass, and guitars, or if you just have to pinpoint drums and bass, do you look at them as, okay, what do I do for them, or is it the whole song that hear, or some aspects of the song? Or
Usually it's the whole song what we hear.
whole song?
And when it comes to lighting, then every song will have for a rock band example, there'll be solo sections. We'll be highlighting, emphasizing on that particular instrument.
So would you say it's more like a structural analysis of the entire song? So if the song,
yes.
So in a 20-song show, you have to know when the chorus is coming.
Of course.
Like us.
Exactly. So
What about the
that's why-
solo and all that?
Yeah, that is the important
So
part
how
of
do you
writing
learn
guide.
that?
You just listen to this music of the artist that you're working with. You have to listen and understand. So I think from what you were saying, like, I don't think it's necessary that you know any music theory, stuff like that, but it does help a lot because at the end of the day, it's all time-based decisions. It's all like you don't have to know, oh, this is in this scale or anything like that. But for example, in audio, you have to have, if you're doing a delay and you have to make sure the delay is in time, you have to have a sense of rhythm, a basic sense, but you have to have a sense of rhythm. You have to understand when, like you said, a chorus is coming, so the vocals need to be louder, or this element is going to come in. So understanding the arrangements of the songs, you don't have to be innately a musician, I don't think, but having an understanding of music holistically, I think is...
Sound is like the bigger picture when it comes to music, right? Music is just a subset of sound.
Yeah.
Wherein sound has pitch, it has rhythm. It's sort of like a 3D thing, 3 parameters.
Yeah.
So how would you like the song goes from verse to chorus. You have the same people, same mic, same setup. So what could you do, like verse to chorus, like
Turn up the bass 3
turn up the
dB,
bass?
turn up the guitars 3 dB, turn up
You
the
have like
vocals.
a distortion also on your
I
consoles?
do sometimes, not often, but I have, like, for example, I'll have, if the vocals are not loud enough or the chorus is louder with a lot more elements, I'll have a separate channel of my vocals, what's called parallel processing, which is a duplicate of the same sound, but then I'll saturate it, distort it, compress it.
Guitarists also have pedals with the volume thing. So most guitarists I know will automatically crank it up.
Yeah, but I'll set it to max level. And then they can, if they want to turn it down, they can turn it down. They can't turn it up.
So yeah, now that in my understanding, there are 3 stages to a concert. It's not just the concert. It's before the concert, during the concert, and then after the concert also perhaps. So I'm assuming that, okay, I'm a musician. You guys are the technical experts, you could call that, I guess. What we normally do, I guess, Hrishii and me or Nikhil, generally after a Lagori show, we just have dinner and we go home. But there's an individual who will be there even after the show. That's this man right here, the manager and arguably the band leader. So could you just walk us through what you would do to kind of manage a show, Ankit? Like before, like what are the things you would, like the urgent things, then during also, we see you on stage a lot of times, unlike the others who are at the consoles. And then after the show, then what? You still seem to be there. You never leave.
So yeah, as you said, Jason, like there are 3 stages during the live concert. That is the pre-show, during the show, and then post-show. So pre-show is basically where 80% of the work happens, wherein like say right from sharing the tech rider details with the organizers or with the vendors, and right from executing the plan, which we call
You
it.
just elaborate on the tech rider. What is it?
So basically, every band will have their own tech riders in terms of technicality, in terms of sound, visuals, or lights, and that is something which we share it to all the vendors in terms of these are things that we needed on stage during the show. And before that, we have a group meeting. When we say we, that is the entire crew, including the sound, lights, and the visual guy, including the other crew members as well, in terms of how we can design the stage, how we can plan on the lighting part, like what light need to be patched in which form of thrust, and then how the FOH needs to be planned, what kind of PA, what kind of monitors has been required. So those all goes on the pre-planning of the shows, and then we also make sure that each and every venue and the place where we are going to perform, that is properly recorded, and like we go and like see how we can execute such plannings. So this all go on the planning of the shows, and then during the show there is again when we go and then we see how the venue looks like. The setup goes on as per our planning, and then
Hopefully it goes on as well.
yeah, I mean majority of the time it goes on, unless there is some scenarios where like a lot of technical issues or say a lot of organizing issues that we face. That is like part of the game. But yeah. So this is how like during the show when we go and then we fix up everything which is already done. It's just that we go and we make sure everything is passed as per our understanding and planning, and mainly it happens from the sound engineer, visual engineer, and then the lighting engineer side. I need to be sure that they are aligned with the vendors and everything is on place.
And the band would also have some
correct. So
requests.
For the band, as per their tech riders, like what kind of gear, if they are having it, they are carrying it with themselves, well and good. If not, what and all they needed on the stage from the vendor side, that and all something again we make sure that we arrange and we keep
From
it.
my perspective, I'm a keyboard player. So if I have to play a concert in Delhi, let's say,
Correct.
I have my own keyboards, but we don't use my keyboards. We use
Vendors.
So how do you communicate? It's in the tech rider, but there are a lot of challenges that come
Correct.
along the way.
Yeah. So basically when you give a list of requirements which is need to be arranged in a different venue altogether, when I say different venue, like we are traveling and we are not in the same city or a country, then that time we need to make sure that whatever is being sent to the vendors, they cross check and then they confirm us that specific requirement is available with them. And although if they confirm, we make sure we get the pictures that what are the equipments that they are sharing it with us during the show, just to be on the safer side. Because a lot of times, I mean, we have faced this issue that the things which they promise to give us on the show day, it's not there. So that is something how we cross check and we make sure that's available, like before the musicians arrive on the stage.
And then the show happens.
Then the show happens and then the show goes on, it gets over, and then after post show we make sure like the artist, the crew, the team, everyone packs their thing properly, they reach home safely. Whatever needs to be sent back which we have used from the vendor side, just in case if we have used from our side, we hand it over to them safely. And if there
Be a
are
show
any
the next day.
sorry.
Could be a show the next day.
Correct. Yeah. But just to be in a safer side, we just try to like do everything on the same day, and then just that's the thing. That's how the show gets over.
Great. Wow, that's a lot of work. Well, we don't do much. We just have a 1 hour jam and we are done. So, in the next question is basically about our Indian music industry. We use this word indie or independent artists, and I'm sure all of you work for, even I play music for some of them, and we also have the kind of professional, so-called professional artists who kind of are those Bollywood superstars or really famous people, playback singers, I guess, or people who have made it really big through their YouTube videos or whatever. So, what according to you describes or defines an indie artist or independent music? Is it an Indian thing or is it like a global thing? Like, like a Singaporean musician also say, I am indie or I am...
I think indie artist traditionally is not backed by a label. I think now an indie artist is just an artist who doesn't have the money to do everything that needs to be done correctly. And it does take a lot of money to really execute shows on a big level. Or
so would an indie artist kind of want the same stage setup as, let's say, a Bollywood artist, which I'm assuming Bollywood acts get their rider and probably more than what they'll probably get a fridge or something too. So, yeah. But so should an indie artist sort of demand that always, or should an indie artist learn something to get to that stage? Or will you ever get to that stage in that sense, in that budgeting sense? Like,
I think as it stands, indie artists are not able to demand a lot of that stuff. I feel like they should. But I mean, at the end of the day...
Or is it the communication? Like indie artists, we tend to focus on our own craft maybe a bit more. We just focus on that one gig, in that one city a month, while the pro artists seem to say, okay, let's do a tour. Let's do eight cities or something like that. And they have a proper roadmap for that.
I mean, I think if you're doing multiple cities and touring, you have to be able to sell tickets. I think an indie artist also can sell who can sell tickets, can tour. But I think it's really hard because there's no... it's not like the audience is already there in all the cities. You have to build that audience as it goes.
So that brings me to the next question. All hardworking musicians would most likely demand similar tech on stage. Like if we don't have the budget of, let's say, a Pratik Kuhad or someone like that, at least we want the same things. Like I may play keyboards for this artist or that artist, but I want the same thing. Like, so what is the bare minimum requirements that you feel, an artist should have or demand? Because some artists are not even experienced. We don't even know what to ask for. And there could be a lot of musicians, beginner bands, maybe they released a YouTube video, made it big, and they are gigging. And it just sounds horrible, because the YouTube video was fully produced, while at the gig, maybe the band themselves don't know what to actually ask Ankit, for the tech writer. So how do we build that as musicians, like from a light, visuals and a sound perspective?
Do you want to start? I start? Okay. From a sound perspective, I think musicians need to firstly learn the equipment that's outside of their realm. Like they need to learn how a new keyboard works, a better sounding keyboard works, or what a good drum kit is, and understanding how to tune a drum kit, because you can get a great drum kit and if it's not tuned well, it'll sound terrible.
So whose responsibility is it to tune the drum kit?
I think it should be the musicians. Yeah. They should know how to...
I mean, unless they have a drum tech with them. So.
Yeah, but then you're not reaching that level. And if you have a drum tech and you don't know how to tune your own drum, I think you shouldn't be at that level also.
So if we just freeze on the musician drummer, which is like you have this huge, 8x8 minimum plot for him to do his thing. Like what should he do? He's been given, now he has the budget, he's been given a kit, he's been given everything. Should he just come and drum and just assume, or how does he communicate, let's say, with you, the sound engineer?
Okay, how would the drummer communicate with me? If the drummer knew what they wanted, I would say it's a lot easier, right? Which is what I'm saying about knowing your instrument, knowing how to tune it. Yeah. If they know what they want, then it's like, I like this kind of drums with this kind of shell, with this kind of, and this is where it comes to understanding my world, which not necessarily all musicians will understand. But getting yourself more knowledgeable about the sound of your own instrument and being able to pull a sound out of your instrument that maybe you can hear in your head, and like learning the technical knowledge to actually bring that sound out. I think that's really important. Whether it's drums, guitars, keys, whatever, like knowing how to bring the sound out of your instrument is really important, in which case it becomes easier to communicate with me as a sound engineer.
And how do we get the best out of, let's say, your field? Like if we are doing a cover, let's say a popular cover, what should we tell you? Like if we are hiring you as musicians for visuals,
So for me, I would like to understand how your song is structured first. So that is mainly how your start of the song or the theme of the song is done. So according to that, I visualize my idea and pitch it to the band. Then the entire experience over there is how the audience react to this. So this is the basic of my structurizing of visual.
And should we give you all cues, like specific, like say, how can we make it easier for you as a musician? Like we have artists watching this, we have musicians, we want lights, we want visuals. But how do we tell you that? Like how do we say that we are playing, maybe off the top, we are playing 10 songs this evening, and then what?
So I'll first listen to the songs. So I'll need the
original song or
the live version of the live version of the song, whatever
you
the
guys are performing on stage. So
could it be like a jam room recording or something?
that would be better for
What would
us.
help you the best?
The jam room recording or a proper recording in a studio. I mean, if you have the budgets to do that. Usually we follow this chart everywhere. If you're working with new artists or let it be a cover band or whoever the artist is. So we we go for the rehearsals, visit the rehearsals. We'll usually what I do, I go sit at the rehearsals and make a note of each and
In the
every song.
rehearsal, you're also in the jam.
Yes, I have to be there.
That's in a more ideal scenario where all of the technicians can be in the rehearsals and you can make adjustments before you ever near a stage. So like we were talking about knowing your instrument, if the keyboard sound is wrong or the guitar sound is wrong or the drum sound is wrong, the snare needs to change, you can make those decisions.
So just to follow up on that, like any vendor, when we go to, let's say, a corporate show or a pub or whatever to play, the equipment is there, sound and lights are there, the mixer is there. Then why should a band hire an actual, like their own engineer? Obviously, you know the sound and all that, but how could that guy like really get it wrong for the musician? Like if you say, okay, I want to cut costs and not hire Amrith, for a gig, what would you say in that case? Like if you're mentoring these artists, like a younger artist, should we really invest in a sound engineer or a light engineer or a manager?
If the artist is in a starting level, if you can afford it, do it. It's as simple as that. If you can't, go and learn the hard way. That's what you would do.
So I guess my question is, when we come on stage, we don't have the budget to hire a Hrishii or an Amrith or Nikhil, and we are on stage performing. We need to just get the show to kind of work. So what should we tell that sound guy, like this engineer who we have no clue about? Because he's part of our show, right? He's the sixth or the seventh musician.
I mean, I feel like it's expecting a lot for someone who's never done it, whether they're a great professional or not a great professional, to know what to do exactly in that situation, because they've never been in that situation before, right? So I would say again, understanding your sound, understanding your setup, understanding how to get you to sound the best without outside interference, meaning the extra engineer. So if you sound good on stage, you can't sound bad outside.
So would it be, I think, a jam room recording, how could we probably have to work on that as musicians, like to understand our sound, not live in the jam, but post the jam
Yeah,
in
review
some
it.
format. Otherwise, because a lot of artists who I know, like the successful ones, tend to play gigs, then they cut an album. They try to see their audience response. How do the audience think? But then you play gigs and then get the audience response. That might also take time. So I guess a jam room recording might be a simple solution, don't you think?
Jam room recording, I think it is a solution because you can review your own work when you're not invested in it in the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely helpful.
Sure. So that brings me to like a more ethical question. Now, if you play a gig, y'all are all in the city. Let's say Ahmedabad, and maybe a city which doesn't have like known tech to you. Like in our city, Bangalore, we know our guys. Kochi, we probably know. Like the main cities, we know that if this vendor fails, we can kind of manage it. I have been in some shows where we have actually said no to the show just because the sound rental equipment is a bit unsteady, the lighting equipment is not so great, and then the light engineer and the sound engineer tell the band or the manager, band manager respects the wishes of the artist says no, we are not playing this show, but then thousands of people have bought tickets. So how do you handle that? Do you tell the artists like chuck this, we have to do the show no matter what?
I mean, yeah, if you have sold 1,000 tickets, you are bound to do that.
So
show.
how would
can't
you
just-
do the show? Because the other side is the artist needs his tech. Like what if the artist doesn't even have IEMs? Let's say the artist wants IEMs. Like how would we do a show?
If they're not providing IEMs, ask them for the monitors.
Just use wedge.
Yeah, that's it.
So just go old school.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
that's
have
not
to.
always
you have
an
to.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Usually it's we tend up not to end up in this kind of situation. We make sure that everything is sorted. Let it be tier 3 or tier 2 cities.
Yeah.
This is the problem we face in India, especially with these kind of city like tier 3s or I had a lot of incidents like that. Like we had like crappy gears. We couldn't work with any of the lights. I mean, mid show, my mixer hangs up.
Yeah.
Some of the lights are not working. But you still need to run the
And
show.
during your check, I think you bring the console. You need to bring it in the middle and then check it.
Usually it's kept at the center.
Yeah.
So because we have the best view for each and every show. So yeah, I mean we have to run the show no matter what.
yeah, if you've sold thousands of tickets
Yeah,
in
you
India,
can't.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
common for any shows to
If
just
we
get
if we
cancelled.
cancel the show, then our
Because
hotels,
I've seen some bands, they'll do a corporate show because of the money you're getting, but then maybe a college festival they'll just say no to because I don't know why, but
I mean, are they saying no to it before they've
no,
gone to the
they
event?
get to the
They
stage,
get to the event?
they realize that the sound check itself is substandard. Then they say improve the gear, go back to the hotel room, and then it's still it's gotten better, but not as per the tech rider.
So
I mean, go for it.
So what we have faced when it comes to corporate or college show, here corporates they usually have a dry run even before the show, sound check or
The night before.
yeah, the night before we get on stage to do the sound check.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a college show, it's completely different where the budget given from the college team doesn't reach the vendor and he'll provide a crappy gear.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all sorts of issues. Discuss this with musicians as well at some point. But anyway, that brings me to, I guess, more like how we can get into this industry kind of questions. Is it lucrative to be in your field? So I just had a question which keeps going on in my head. Like, if there is this singer who's tied to an act, like she is the face of that act, it's a bit weird to kind of get that same singer to kind of session with other acts, right? Or maybe even a drummer who's fully invested in that artist, like he has to be the face of that band. While you guys don't seem to have that problem, you can like work with anyone. So the question is sort of just to tell our viewers how you can optimize a career out of this industry. And it seems very efficient if you think about it. You know, you're not tied to an act. You're tied to like it's all in your court. You need a good night's sleep and rest. Apart from that, you can work with, I don't know, y'all work with a lot of artists. So how would you like recommend like people trying to get into your field, or how would you like sell it to them or convince, or just tell people that it's pretty efficient even if you're a guitarist or a musician?
As per me, first is like you need to have an interest towards like this field. First is the interest level. Like if you have an interest, of course you can be whatever you want to. Second is do a little bit of research before coming into or before picking any sort of such like domains or like department, whatever you can say it. And then comes like you reach out to people across who are already there in this field doing like so many things, and like you get to learn like how they have been doing the same things in their past with so many other artists. And then once you start working with a specific artist, like I'm not talking like you need to start with a well-known artist or like a mediocre artist who is like already well established or something like that. But even if you start with a artist who is also starting in the same level as you, it will give you a lot of learning, and like it will give you a lot of understanding in terms of what you can expect the same in future from the same given field, right? And then slowly you automatically gain a lot of contact within that industry where you get more work, and your work will be recognized, of course, if you are doing it in the same way. So that's how my opinion is in terms of like how you can like pitch into so and so field and like you can get into it.
Okay, so start by like assisting someone.
Correct.
And then move up the
ladder.
Yeah. What about you? How did you end up working with everyone out there?
Not everyone. Come on, Jason. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, like Ankit said, you need to start from the bottom. You need to gain that kind of an experience. I mean, it's a journey. You learn through your experience. You start with probably an upcoming artist, then move up the ladder. I mean, if you're choosing this field of profession, you need to sacrifice your sleep. You need to sacrifice food. I mean, these are the main this is
And
very
the band
important for
just has to deal with like the four of us or the five of us. You are working constantly with like so many more people, so you'll probably have to have way better communication skills.
Yeah, I mean the band doesn't have to have great communication skills other than between themselves. Then it'll work.
that's the most important part of our field.
Yeah, like communicating. I think, like you said, you have to be willing to sacrifice sleep and sacrifice eating on time because it's long hours. It's fun if you like it. We're all little mental and we like being in this position. But like I think you have to, like Ankit was saying, you have to have that interest to do it. I think with anything else to succeed, you have to have that.
There are quite a few musicians also who I observe, are also sound engineers like yourself. And there's some musicians who also do lights, I've observed. Yeah. And there's some musicians who play guitars or drums for one band and manage another band. So is that fine? Does it take a toll on us, like as artists? Or like you are a passionate guitarist, like you compose music and produce. Don't you think that doing live sound is like, will that affect you in the long run, or how do you have to balance it?
Well, okay. For me, I think it does affect me, where in the sense that there is a main thing. My main thing is sound, not being a guitarist. Even though maybe like I am a guitarist and I do play with bands and I do compose, my main thing is doing sound. And I think at a certain point, at least this is my opinion, at a certain point, you do have to either choose or, like you said, balance it. But I still think one thing ends up being your main thing. Like it might be split 60-40% of your time, but one thing ends up being the main thing. Because if you want to do it more and more, you have to spend more time in it, which means spending less time elsewhere.
Great. Awesome.
I think that is a reality of it.
And just moving into the education of all this, how we can actually learn this. I'll start with Amrith. So I understand you studied at our school for a bit, and then I think you studied elsewhere. You did. So could you just take us through your education journey, and what aspects of that education have actually helped you to this stage and actually are helping you in the work? Is it everything, or have you learned some stuff away from your schools and universities? And if so, what?
So I think yes and no for all of it. I think there is a lot of the education that gave me a really good foundation of it, because like you said, I was in Nathaniel's way back learning guitars, and then that got me into electric guitars, which got me into pedals and understanding sound of guitars, and that's kind of where I got into the sound side of things, right?
Then you studied further.
And then I studied further. I went to study sound. That wasn't like particularly live sound or studio sound. It was just a sound course across the board. And a lot of what I studied in my classes and stuff like that gave me just a foundational understanding of how sound works. But everything I did outside of that, like we were saying, you have to be willing to give up, sacrifice everything, because you have to sacrifice your time to this craft, right? That, as any craft, like it would be. So all of my learnings, I feel like my major learnings have happened doing rather than in a classroom. But the classroom gave me a completely fundamental foundation so that I could understand and problem solve and do all the things that are then necessary to get into this kind of industry.
So there are courses on how to be a musician, how to play guitar. In your case, how to become a sound engineer. It was probably like a 1 year or a 3 year. Was it a 3 year?
It was 2 years, mine.
2 years, yeah. So there's a proper system there. What about, at least in our country, what about your fields, like lights?
I don't think there's any lighting school. I think there's
Why is there no light school and no sound school?
Sounds cool.
Sorry, why is there a sound school and no light school?
People are getting educated what lighting is and what visuals are right now.
But are there schools abroad? Or?
Yeah, definitely there are a few lighting schools and visuals as well. But here in India, I think there's one in Bangalore, which.
But then, how did you learn all this stuff?
It's self-taught. Like I did my electronic music production.
Okay.
And
so you also started with music, some kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Then I moved to live sound. So I did a couple of gigs.
Wow, you're also a sound person.
Oh, yes.
Sound engineer. Wow.
Then while working, I saw this mixer being left out alone. Nobody is giving. Seriously, I mean, nobody bothered here, and especially in India. Like, just the console was there, and just the random faders were up, and an artist on stage is playing a slow song, and I see the stage, it's strobing. Like, doesn't make sense, So, okay, from that day onwards, okay, let me just get into it. Let me just learn something new. So that's when I got into lighting, and I did about like 3-4 years. Then went to Singapore, did my music business management, came back again, and stuck to doing the light. So.
And what about your kind of education to do what you do?
I don't think so there is any such of education. I mean, you can do any of your education degree, but you need to have a good people management skill. You need to have a good negotiation skill. If you have those, then you can opt for it, of course. But nothing as such, a specific course or any education degree in India.
Just get into it.
Of course, yeah.
What about you? I've noticed you do so many things. You worked as a DJ, producer, a sound engineer. You run a company, a post-production company. Yeah. So how do you do all this? Like, what is the start? How do these things start for you guys?
For me, with DJ or being a sound engineer, there it's more into music and audio. There again, the visual stuff is again there, but I wouldn't be handling that. But when it comes about me handling the show, the education I require is basically, now you have colleges which teach VFX, design, or there's no separate course that you go into learning how the live visual works, but there are trainings which happen.
So there's like a base, there's some training ground.
Yeah.
Nice.
With the live visual, it's basically the training which happens from the there's a software company called Resilium that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, they run a masterclass kind of thing.
Nice.
Then there is the LED wall vendors. They do a training.
Oh, and I'm just a thought. During COVID, around 2020 or so, people who were learning sound or lights or whatever visuals, the VFX, now fast forward to 2025, what aspects of their education, if any, might they have not got because of a period like COVID, where you don't even get to go to your college and learn? Like, we observe a lot of schools, colleges were just doing this online thing. And with your experience, if you've mentored a young aspiring technician, you feel any dip in quality, or has it gotten better?
I don't know if I particularly think there's a dip in quality.
Because in colleges you need that opportunity to go and work on the console, and for a couple of years it was not possible.
Yeah, but I think a lot of, at least in India, I feel like a lot of people who come up in this industry are people who are just doing it and learning. Like, they go and join a vendor. So there may have been a gap of a few years of talent coming in, but I think it just continues. You know, it's a revolving door.
So for the audience, is education even like essential? Should you pay? Like, an audio degree costs quite a bit, I would imagine, even a professional music college, or if we just stick with audio. So if you say no to that, then there probably would be some street smart skills that us could learn from. Like he said, start small, start from the bottom, and then see where it goes, and some luck hits your way. So, how do you think we should upskill this field, considering if you feel, or is education important? Can we learn it somewhere?
At least I can speak for myself. I think majority of my learning came from doing. So if you have an opportunity to do instead of going into a college and learning it, obviously there's so many resources online, you can just like research and learn.
So if a musician wants to do sound or lights, or if they are pushed into it, let's say they are in a church scenario or a school scenario, college, what should that musician do? He's a guitar player. What would you advise him to do if he has the passion? Like, he sees all the equipment in his school or in wherever, the church. Should he just go and use it?
And do it. Yeah.
Just volunteer.
Mess up, make mistakes, learn from them. And
Simple.
So without a mentor, without anyone.
I mean, if you don't have one, do it. Like, if you have one, then that's even better.
So a lot of success stories just happen like this then.
I think so, yeah.
That's what I've been seeing. So,
And so what about managers? Some of the what is there, like the best manager in India who manages like a big act? What is their education like? Do they do?
I mean, majority of the people who I have seen around, they have either done their masters, either MBA or anything in like education itself, but nothing specific to like being a artist manager or something like that. But yeah, as I said, like if a person is good in talking, if he has a good people management skill, I think that's the most matters in terms of management field. So yeah.
Okay. So now my favorite topic, tech and gear. So I'd like all of you to explain tech of like without using brands, and so no brands allowed. So you have to explain it to the audience in that way. Like, what is all the tech you would have, or the important stuff, or maybe the stuff you really would want but sometimes you don't get it on stage, so that people know, okay, when I'm a sound engineer or a light engineer or a visual expert, I need this when I go on stage, and I have to probably save up some money also to maybe invest in something and learn. Yeah, we'll start with maybe.
I always vouch for a mixer because
So what is this mixer? Like, how is a lighting mixer different than a sound mixer? Like, at least I know a bit of sound, so I can relate to it. What is a light mixer?
I mean, you control all the lighting fixtures. Let's say, for example, colors. I have to go a little bit technical out here. I don't know how people understand. So
Without using brands.
I mean, it's a basic attribute functions of a lighting fixture, Like there's colors, there is something called spot mode, there's something called wash mode, There's something called shutter. Shutter is nothing but your strobe. So everything is controlled via mixer, through the mixer itself.
And how is it patched to that mixer?
So
The physical light to the mixer, is there a
there's a
cable?
splitter. There's something called DMX splitter, which all the lights will be daisy looped and going into the splitter. But nowadays we are using something called NPUs. That's nothing but a network processing unit that allows us to give more channels, more universes. That this is ideal for big rig environment. That'd be like if you're handling festivals. If you're handling about 250 plus fixtures, then these NPUs,
That by fixtures you mean like pieces of equipment?
pieces of, I mean, each and every light.
Yeah.
So one light is a light.
250.
250 plus,
Could
yeah.
go to 250.
I mean, I've been using 300 plus fixtures for one particular artist,
And now
like
you,
it's been
what if you
constant.
have to do that on your mixer
Yeah.
for 3 bands back to back?
Yeah,
What
I mean,
will you do?
so I do basically on the mixer I have all the playback faders. So where I program and save everything onto my playback faders. So each and every band has their own set of cues, own set
You
of
save it on a
colors.
pen drive or
That is my show file.
show file?
Yeah. So everything is saved onto the mixer itself.
Okay.
So all your cues, all
And
your
you
color
have a
stacks.
show file which is like your
My own show file where I have the basic stuff which is already plug and play types.
so if
So-
someone steals it they become like you.
No,
or
no.
you shouldn't
Don't.
have. So how do you protect that?
It's been password protected. So I know because I've invested on my show file and there's a lot of time put into it. So
Yeah.
definitely you need to
And
safeguard
do you
it.
make the show file at the show? Or
No,
Can you do it?
I mean, you can do it at the show, but I tend to work at home,
At
do my
home?
do my own show file. I mean, if you have the virtual environment, probably a software which is put into your laptop, it is very easy to work with. You don't need to have a physical mixer in front of you. So it just it's the same thing with what you're working on software and with the mixer, it's going to be the same.
And same artist but different stages, like one hot sun, 2 p.m. gig versus the same artist, same set list in a pub, like dim lighting, like or closed lighting, enclosed, if that's the phrase. Like, what would you change then? Like what would you do in a like 2 p.m.
Adapt to the environment given to you.
To adapt.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So
can't be.
all you need is a mixer
Yes, that's the most
and
important.
obviously your lights.
Lights, yeah, I know.
And don't you need like proper power backup for all this stuff?
Yeah, this has been powered by a generator. So generator is like, okay, fine, we get generators.
And
so
do
no
the
worries.
sound and the lights have to be on the same
Gen?
gen?
No, it's
Usually
always
on
separate.
Separate.
Why is that? Is that rule or?
Because my lights will be like I said, if I'm using 200 fixtures,
Yeah.
I'll be going way
more
over
than the
like
sound
30
guy.
kilowatts or, I can't, if I had to plug in into his generator, I think probably when you're playing the solos, that time
Oh no.
yeah.
You'll hit a high E.
We only get one solo in the whole show. What about, so could you, just to kind of distinguish this, could you explain like the signal flow of sound? Like the person plays his guitar until where the audience hears it. Like what goes on? Because you are clearly, you have to manage every
Stage of it, yeah. So let's just say it's a festival environment. So you have a guitarist, drummer, bassist, vocalist on stage. Let's start with the drums. The drums has multiple microphones on each of the shells of the drums. Those are individually going to what's called the stage box. So the signal from each of those instruments, like the guitars and the bass and the drums, all of the microphones on stage are going from those individual things to the stage box. The stage box is what's taking all of that information and coming down via cables, yeah, coming down on the mixing console, which is, like I said, on bigger shows might have 2 consoles, one for the artists, one for the audience. Now, each of those signals come down on the mixing console, and then you have all of your tools to kind of adjust for how it sounds, the tonality of the sounds, all of that. So that'll, if it's a digital mixing console, again, not naming brands, you have the capability of saving settings, changing equalizers, compression,
Can you also
dynamics.
prepare for a show like how he...
Same way, yeah. So you have virtual
But how do you
softwares.
prepare without hearing anything?
You prepare, so what I would do is prepare my workflow so that I don't have to set up workflows during the show. And
Just a follow-up, the sound check which we do, and if you have a digital mixer, and if you've prepared your stuff like Hrishii has done, do we need to come for sound check?
well, if you are touring and doing enough shows, there is a way we can work out where soundcheck can become for your comfort only. Like just so that you know that you as an artist is comfortable. But if we're not touring and we don't have multi-tracks from our last show that I can do a virtual sound check without the band on stage, then we need to have the band on stage. Like the band always has to.
And what about you, Nikhil?
So the process which I follow is I have to carry my laptop everywhere I go.
Oh.
That has the content which is going to be played on the screen.
And how do you play it? Through a
So
software?
yeah, so I'll come back to that. So there is a LED wall which is behind your instruments, the drum kit, and so it is placed according to how the stage is designed. So before we get on the stage, we have a pre-planning. The stage is laid out according to the plan. So there is a LED wall. From that, it is connected to a processor. There's a LED wall processor. Through that, I'm connecting to my laptop. The laptop sends a signal to the processor and it goes to the LED wall.
And you have an app to kind of control this and...
It's run by a software. Can I name that?
They're not going to give you any discounts. This video is not sponsored.
Okay. There are a lot of softwares. The one I use is Resolume Arena.
Okay, nice. Great. So if something goes wrong on stage, what are the standard issues that you might not have control over? And maybe with respect to, well, all the stakeholders, the musicians, the organizers and the vendors. So what are the worst things that can possibly happen which you just have no control over? Like the audience is complaining, they generally blame the sound guy or someone. Generally so. But clearly you can't control a few things. Sometimes it's actually the musician's fault or the vendor's fault or the organizer. So what are these things? I would like all of you to just think, what are the things which mess up your work?
For me, I think like the PA system not being deployed correctly, which we are trying to have more control over, but sometimes you don't have
By
control over.
deployed, you mean installed?
Installed correctly. So if it's a PA system that's put up for that show, that is commonly a problem.
But it just comes on. It like sound is there.
Sound is there, but it's not even across the whole area of where the audience is. So then some people are like, oh, it sounds great. Some people are like, it sounds terrible.
But what would like ruin the show? Like you just, it's impossible to manage. Like with the PA malfunctioning, you can still kind of do it.
So in a festival situation when there's very little time and there's multiple bands, things that commonly go wrong is the wrong signal patched to the wrong input. That's common. And
how many channels would a band normally use, like for a live gig of 6-7 piece band?
6-7 piece band, potentially about 50, 60 inputs.
50, 60.
Like if you have, say, multiple keyboards or...
And if you're doing a festival, the previous band might just repatch it.
They might repatch it, or when you're patching in that short period of time, it goes, you put the kick here and the snare here instead of the other way.
So basically your inputs and outputs should be protected.
It needs to be. That is, like if you have, ideally, obviously, if you're in a situation where you can get a stage manager on board to make sure that it's actually done right. Because if the engineer is at FOH and the stage, you have no one on the stage.
So how do you communicate then? You're about meters.
You have speakers, talkbacks.
Talkback. So who do you ideally talk to? If there's the vendor
There'll be a talkback shout on the stage, usually stage left, and talkback shout at the monitors. So wherever the PA system, the stage boxes, they'll have a shout system where.
And anytime musicians have done some things which result in oh, he should not do that. This show is going south because of what the musicians are doing, or yeah.
Don't unplug your instruments without muting. Don't ever unplug your instruments without
What about
muting.
singers? I think singers should also get
Singers have very little work. They show up, sing and go. They just need to warm up and come to stage. They're doing more than most singers are doing.
See, I have a just general issue with singers. I don't know if you have the issue or does it translate into an issue? The singer during the sound check says, check 1, check 2, hey, hey,
yeah, no.
or sing before their lunch so their voice is not fully. So how do you get the sound of the singer during sound check to be kind of exact?
I always push the singer to sing at show level. I'll keep telling them, show level, sing at show level. This is not
Show level basically means what? A chorus.
means, sing as if you're singing to a crowd.
but
that
there
is-
is no crowd.
Who cares? You have to sing as if you're singing to a crowd. That's your job as the singer, to come and perform your like a guitarist or a drummer can't come at sound check and play softly. They have to play like there's a crowd.
And there's feedback, right? There's all this feedback, these issues. So what results in, how can a musician help with feedback? 'Cause that seems
they-
to be a huge issue on stage.
So a vocalist, anyone with a vocal mic, I think the easiest way they can help with feedback is start to understand what feedback is. And what that is essentially certain frequencies creating a loop between the microphone and the speaker system that's playing the same sound. So one really easy thing that vocalists can do is if they learn about feedback and learn about working, like communicate with the engineer, whoever is doing monitors, to help take out that feedback during sound check. So
And should they lot of singers, when they sing loud notes, they take the mic away. Is that an actual thing or is it?
it's if you're a loud singer, then yes, it helps, but you don't have to nowadays with the technology. Yeah, you don't need
So
to.
should singers do that? Considering the mics, the mic is going to pick up everything.
I mean, they should or shouldn't really, depends on how the singer wants to portray themselves, right? I think there are things like you said are you can't really control. If they want to do this, they'll do this.
And I'm sure you have a lot of issues with folks on stage,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially me.
No, I don't have any problem with you. You're not constantly moving, no? Like you're stationed at one place, yeah. So I have no worries. Yeah, I mean, there are musicians where I mark the spot on stage. I'll make sure that they have to stand at their own spot.
With the color tape also.
Yeah, with the colored gaffer tape, I make sure that they stand at the same spot. But during the show time, they won't be standing at the same spot. They'll be standing somewhere like 200 meters away. Yeah, they'll be climbing the truss, exactly. Then when their solo section comes, I throw the bloody spot on them. I see nobody standing there, And then later these guys, after the show, bro, you didn't put any spot on me. For this song, I was playing the solo. I actually played the solo for 5 minutes, I wanted this to come up. Bloody stand on your bloody spot. Why are you just moving? I mean, I faced a lot of problems like that. But I ensure that all the musicians on stage, they're standing wherever their positions are. Because it's really important for a show, because it adds in a more interesting, probably creating a better experience for the crowd who come in, emphasizing those particular musicians on stage.
Ankit is waiting to vent out his... So what do we do to mess up your work?
Nothing as a Jason. For me, as a manager, first thing I can expect from the artist is to follow the time schedule. Like it could be a sound check or it could be the show time. So that's the main thing. And the second is for an artist to know their gears properly. Like for a stage tech or even for a vendor, it's easy for them to understand things. But for an artist, what gear they are using, unless they know their gear properly, they won't be able to explain the same to the stage tech or to the vendor, right? So these are something if the artists get on it properly, and then if they follow the same instruction for every show, I think the show will go on.
Awesome. And just to get a little bit more specific with 1 or 2 questions for each specialization, just for you guys, how Nikhil mentioned that he collaborates with the light engineer. So of course, time permitting, of course, in a gig, you may not have time, but if you did have time, what do you guys do? What is your chat when you all work together?
Make sure we're following the same colors, patterns for each and every song, and where the strobing needs to happen, the visual guy has to as well tag along with me and get all the
Working
effects.
in daylight when the gig is in the
I
night?
don't work during daylight.
Okay, so if the sound
I
check,
don't want to work.
so if the sound check is in the afternoon, none of you show up.
No, I'll be sleeping at the hotel.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the previous day I'll be at the site.
So then you have to program everything.
Yeah, that's why I travel one day prior to the show to get all my cues sorted, you know.
Great. So you all chat before the show.
Yes, usually we do. Or probably during just an hour before the...
Yeah, we just make sure the color palettes are all the same.
And then you all have your own expertise going. Yeah. And one question for Amrith, since I know you for a long while. You're a seasoned producer, a performing musician. You compose, you have bands, you're a live engineer. The list goes on. You also manage people a bit. So
Inadvertently.
this seems to be unimaginable for the lot of us. So how on earth do you do it?
How do I do it? I'm a little crazy. How do I do it? I think I just really get invested in finishing things that I start, and then I started too many things. So I need to finish all of it.
Do you have time off, or how do you manage a holiday, or
I don't holiday. I don't have time off.
get into these fields would have a day job like 9 to 5 or whatever, and then Saturdays and Sundays are relaxed, or so what?
I mean, like I said, I think I'm just wired to really strive on this kind of thing. I've spent majority of my life working 7 days a week without time off. Like if I take time off, I take time off. Like I'm not doing anything related to work for like 2 weeks.
So do you always love what you do?
I try to.
Or do you have
I
to
try to.
Do you have to do some things, just to make ends meet, or there are some artists who you don't necessarily want to work with, or do you only work with people which maybe you enjoy their music, only then you'll work with them?
So I wouldn't say only, but I think I've been lucky enough to be able to make the decision to work for the artists I want to work with music that be involved with artists that I want to work with live or even in the studio, whatever it is. I think I've been lucky. I don't think a lot of people maybe necessarily have that same opportunity, but I feel like if you do this kind of work long enough, you will reach a point where you can make that decision to do only the projects you want.
And like we've kind of agreed, like the sound, all of you guys know a lot about our craft, the musicians. So what should we learn about your craft? We can start with sound. Like, should we actually learn sound, or if we say, I have a DAW, I'm a music producer, I'm also a sound engineer.
If there was one thing, I think it's signal flow. I think every musician should understand how, especially if you're performing live with PA systems, with amplification involved in any way, understand where the signal's coming from, where the signal is going to, and understand how, if you plug something into a different thing, how that affects.
So it could be down to the smallest adapter or cable.
It could be understanding your cables, understanding how you are connecting your system to that system. I think if every musician learns that, it'll save a lot of headaches for a lot of sound engineers.
Help them also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one question specific to Ankit. Could you mention some of the things which go over the radar when we think of you as a band manager? Like, what are the smallest things, or what are the things you do which you feel fly over all of our heads? Or there are a lot. If you can name about a few.
I mean, starting with first thing will be venue politics and
Sorry to cut you, but just the things which you do, which are actually, when you look at the bigger scheme of things, are actually a game changer or for an artist, for the show, for everything. Like, what are those things which we tend to take for granted, or the organizers might take for granted, or
first they say I'll talk about venue politics and stuff like that, wherein majority of the artists won't know what is happening behind the scene when the show day is actually happening in the production side, I say, or like when I say people performing on stage. So there are a lot of things which happens which we as a manager try to fix it without letting the artist know about it. It's also because they are the ones who will be performing, so we do not want to put more pressure or like say give them thoughts about this and all has been happening behind the stage. So like you guys have to be aware about this. So this is something main. And then second is a good in-ear mix. Like if an artist gets a good in-ear mix and if he or she is satisfied with whatever he has or she has gotten it, they should appreciate the crew or like say the sound guy then and there itself.
And in your opinion, will an in-ear mix make a neater or better show?
Of course.
Or should it be those monitors, wedge monitors?
In your mix any day.
And aren't monitors in a way theoretically flawed in the sense the sound will travel different distances from each speaker to hit each artist's ear playing the same thing together?
I mean, those are small things you can fix. I think people are very used to what monitors sound like because that's what you get when you're coming up. But like he said, in your mix, even if you're on monitors, understanding that your monitor mix is not for you to hear everything and have a perfect, it's for you to hear you and what you need to hear, and that's it.
And with IEMs, there's always some pre-planning. They have to kind of check the frequencies, and that's a lot of work.
That's something with sound engineer comes like 5 hours early before the show starts.
Carve out space in the RF frequencies. Sometimes you'll be in some really busy radio frequency areas. It becomes
Oh, that's an awesome answer. So, just to conclude our talk, just a few questions, just general questions. So, at a concert, I'd like to hear this from all of you. What does, either of these words, what does energy, stage presence, a sick groove, or a tight show mean to you? Can start with anyone.
I mean, it just boosts up my day for that specific gig because that's the only thing I can expect from an artist to like come and like do it on stage. So yeah, it could be whichever artist I'm working with. So yeah.
I mean, this is what I vouch from.
What is energy? Like, we keep saying, oh, that was an energetic show, tight. What does that even mean?
I mean, it all boils down to the musicians on stage, yeah.
Because some shows would be like here and there, some would be very loose, some would be like tight, as we say.
I mean, generally, depends on the mood for the vocalists or the musicians on stage. But yeah, what I look up is I vouch for the energy from the artist itself, so that it also gives me more energy to play around with lights, or else you get bored. Like you'll be like sleepy, get this gig done, man. I just want to go get back home.
No, and it's also the other way around. I think for musicians with great sound, lights and visuals, you will, at least in my experience, we play at least 20% better. I don't know how to actually measure that, but yeah.
So I think, like you were saying, like energy, it could be like how the audience is holding. It's like how the energy of the audience and the performers are interacting. If they're on the same wavelength or are they on different wavelengths, you could be throwing out a lot of energy and the audience can be like, what is happening? Or it could be like the audience is ready and you're not performing. Like, I think a great energy show is when that meets. I would say a tight groove is a tight groove. A drummer killing it is a tight groove.
It's about the drummer or everyone.
I think it's 50% about the drummer.
Who should people follow the most in the band? The drummer, or like how do you, like, who holds the groove?
The drummer. The drummer and the bassist, yeah. But
What if the drummer is not so good?
and the show is also not so good. If the drummer is not so good, the show is not so good. I'm sorry. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. So, what is your role, like, beyond all of the technical things like you do? We've talked about tech, we've talked about gear and education and all that. Beyond all of that, like, what is your role at a show? Like, you do a few other things as well, like calm the nerves, I'm sure. Like, I have experienced that from so many people. Like, I don't want to be near musicians before a show. I'd rather be hanging around with a lighting engineer or with the sound engineer. There's something about it. So do y'all think about something else apart from just doing your job? during the gig?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Just another show. Just go do our jobs and come back. Yeah.
Think about it.
You all are not like us musicians, I guess. Yeah, good.
Yeah, musicians have a lot of time to think before the show. They're just sitting there waiting to get on stage. We're like actually working.
And just a couple more questions. You can answer it if you want. As the years roll by, how do you see the role of technology either aiding or destroying us? Is it always going to improve, or is it like people were doing music, live shows, recordings in the 70s? You had Queen, you have all these other people who also sounded good. So what is technology actually doing now in 2025 when shows were happening then also? That's kind of my question.
I mean, right now, if you have a laptop, you can be a musician because you have a lot of AI-powered apps, or you have AI apps which will help you create music or help you in mastering or mixing.
But do these artists do they stand out like with all these tools that like auto chord generators, or you basically steal the drum loop of another drummer and make it into your song, or you auto tune your vocals?
I mean, I think if if the technology exists and you use it lazily, it will sound lazy.
Yeah.
I think if you use it creatively, it can sound creative. Like,
So could you give me some like things which the Beatles didn't have, let's say, which we have now, which can aid our...
auto-tune.
So is that creative?
I mean, there are some artists who use it creatively, right?
Creatively.
Like people don't, and now I feel like it's become an aesthetic or a sound rather than, oh, I don't know how to sing, so I'll sing through autotune. There's a lot of people who do, like for example, T-Pain. I actually saw his show recently and it is amazing. But autotune is such a big part of his...
a musical tool.
Exactly.
Like a guitar flanger effect or a wow.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of,
But he can sing, he can actually sing.
Sure, yeah.
So he's using it as a creative tool rather than a...
So what skill sets would you advise upcoming musicians to have moving forward with this new age, with this world of technology? Or should you follow this AI and modern gizmos like as it comes? Just, it's going to help me save time, it's going to make me... What is the thing we should ask before buying a piece of gear? Like, is it, that's helping me save time, or that's going to help me be more creative, or that's going to help me make a hit song really fast?
I think those tools will be used anyway. Like I feel, my personal opinion is I'm not someone who thinks that AI is going to replace human innovation. It can help, like replace a lot of like maybe basic skills, but it won't replace creativity because it's only working on things that already exist. So if you want to make something new or novel, it's not going to come from AI. It's going to come from human, like...
Yeah. Any other thoughts regarding that? The technology effects of music? Or it is what it is.
So use AI to make your regular, what you do as a basic task, that can be easier.
More efficient.
It just enhances your whatever playing style or like whatever it is.
Super. Then just before I pack up, first of all, thanks to everyone for coming for this boot camp. I know it's been 2 long days, and thanks to our awesome panelists. It's really a privilege to have all of them at the same spot, and this also happens to be our first ever time doing a discussion like this. So great, and hope we can do a lot more. And our focus as a school was, a lot of musicians are interviewed, so we definitely want to take a kind of another direction or another tangent and interview the people who make the music happen, rather behind the scenes. So we'd love to have you all back at some point soon, and we are going to make this hopefully a regular thing with everyone's support. So again, thanks a ton for your valuable time, and thanks everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Awesome. Great. Thanks. What do we do now? Picture?
Keyboard solo.
Keyboard solo.